Hey, what's up, fam? Closing out the previous chapter for how Warden Higuma, we had the big Diamond Raven guy, and kind of just how there was some clear effects on Higuma personally, as well with Kobata, and you see, you kind of get a little bit of a beginning where you see how they met and how Kobata's grandfather had his life force stolen by a fugitive spirit who stole his life force, and his grandfather died, and then Higuma and his father showed up, and then they went and found and exorcised caught and defeated the spirit, and were able to kind of avenge that guy's grandfather. But unfortunately, you can't give life force back to somebody who's dead. But like if somebody if you had 10 years left to live and a fugitive spirit stole 9 of them, you could get those 9 back. But if you had 10 years left to live and you saw 10, you died, there was no coming back. You can only get it back if you're alive. Pretty, like I've said before, this explanation, it's needed, but it's pretty basic, pretty understandable, but needed, obviously, in the beginning of a series. But you had some nice resolution with that little girl who saw her grandfather get, or her grandmother get her life force back. Everything was kind of getting fixed, and it seemed really calming for the chapter and pretty nice. But at the same time, you saw the reflection for Higuma, him wanting to live, the Diamond Raven demon just wanting to live and wanting to live in the world of living. He doesn't want to be in hell anymore, and he's just doing what he has to in order to do that. He doesn't like to do it, but he has to. And there's a little bit in there where you could see him trying to relate to the fugitive spirit. So it's a little bit interesting in that manner. But you also get to, I don't know, it was weird seeing Kobata's character without his suit on, because he looks even more bland with it off. And I'm hoping he gets at least an interesting hairstyle. He just has bowl cut, not even bowl cut, just like way short cut hair with like a little tuffet out in the front of his face and a scar. That's like all there really is to him. Other than that, he just looks super plain. But I don't know, maybe he'll probably get better as time goes along. He started out just kind of as this background character who really appreciates Higuma for his actions. But even what was cool is after you saw Higuma, after getting serious, just manhandle that Diamond Raven fugitive spirit, and then it gets right over to him fighting somebody who completely shatters his Hellblade, that zero hand that he had that he showed, and it completely breaks it and treats Iguma like he's nothing. Like he just goes in, shatters his sword, and then flicks him and defeats him. So I'm wondering who this character is. He's got like he looks like he's some form of demon or something. He's got this darker, I'm assuming red skin, these horns and these pointed ears. And when you see kind of like he is somehow training with him, but I mean I say somehow because in the location he's in, and it doesn't seem like he's in the world of the living. Just from looking around, and you get this weird kind of misty vibe to it of the area and these like pillars. But then it goes over and you find out no, it's not, because he's in some form of hell or some dimension in between the two, and you see Enma talking to him. I don't know the deep parts of Japanese lore, but I believe Enma is the great king of hell or king of the afterlife. In between those, I have to double check, but I'm wondering what exactly this character's like. 'Cause he's obviously very important. He's got a big deal as king of. I'm gonna assume hell until I really look it up, but the fact he's interested in Higuma as a character, he was interested in Ayaha enough to give her one of those sigils, and obviously there's going to have to be something different about him, something very odd about him, that he's just giving these characters powers. He seems to be very trusting of Higuma, even though a lot of other characters, a lot of the older characters really kind of just look at him and see him as this lazy slacker, like the guy he was fighting that treated him like he was nothing. Was just talking about is like he used to not ever show up to train with them. His what is Zaiju is, he is not using it properly. He doesn't know how to use like the powers really at all. His movements are slow and sluggish, and he's annoying to fight because of the obvious openings and the laziness in his combative style. So even though we've seen Higuma be impressive, it's really because he's probably just been fighting these weaker fugitive spirits, and you see him go up against somebody of higher value, and this guy's just like pointing out all his flaws and talking about how he's not actually really that accomplished. He's just been fighting small fry. But we'll figure out what exactly makes Higuma so interesting to Enma probably in the next chapter. Maybe find out a little bit more about him as a person. So that's gonna be pretty cool. The chapter itself, it wasn't. I'd say it wasn't as exciting as the last few chapters have been, but still enjoyable because it was a nice setup chapter. You had a nice closeout and setup in the same chapter, and you want to get nice transitions like that early on in the story because early on you have to keep the readers kind of hooked and paying attention to what's going on. You want to keep their attention versus a longer running one where they could pull away and come back and read a bunch of stuff, backlog stuff. You can't do that early on in a series. And, it's way different when a series already has your attention, you're already into it versus one that's fresh and you're not sure whether or not you're gonna keep following. But other than that, I liked it. Like I said, it wasn't as exciting as a lot of the other ones, but it had some nice setup and some nice bits for foreshadowing for Haguma's character, with him kind of seemingly relate to the escaped spirit, as well as the mysterious character who he was sparring against, and the fact that soon we'll probably find out what exactly makes him so special that Enma is interested in. But other than that, drop a comment below on what you think about this chapter, and maybe check out my other videos. Like this video, I'd really appreciate it if you give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. And I appreciate everyone who's already subscribed, and I thank you all for listening. Bye.